Hello class, this is Professor Tweed, and in this video we're going to look at making our building sort of perspective match the background image that we had previously pulled in, so it looks like it's setting in the scene. And we've already applied materials in various aspects to this thing. And so what I'm going to do is some things that are not dissimilar. In a previous video series I looked at pulling in perspectives from SketchUp, which is what I use, but the same thing in Revit, sort of the process you would go through if you're using two different softwares. Here we're going to be using it all in Photoshop, and there's going to be some similarities. So the one thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come to my Layer tab and I'm just going to turn off my 3D model so I can see my background image. Because one thing I want to make sure I have right is that I want to have the horizon line set right. And of course that's pretty easy to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my rulers, click and hold so I can pull this guideline down here. And I want to set this guideline to match what I think my horizon line is approximately. In mine, obviously, my horizon line is right there just above the circle on the screen, but that's also being cut off by trees, so I know it's a tiny bit higher than that. So I'm going to set mine there. Potentially you could argue it's ever so slightly taller, but this is going to be good enough for the process that we're going to go through here. What I'm actually going to do for now is I'm actually going to turn off that layer because I just want to see this blue line. I know it's hard to see right now, probably with the transparency on here, but I got the blue line there just to mark the horizon, because when I go to set the perspective, I don't necessarily want the rest of it to get in the way right now, right? So I can see the sort of the blue line, the horizon line come back. And I'll turn on that image in a minute to finalize settings. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch back to my 3D model layer, which I've done, and of course go to 3D mode, and I'm going to go to current view. What that's going to do is that's going to change some things up here. And one of the things that you want to do first is this FOV. It's important to set this field of view. I don't particularly like working in millimeter lenses because I'm not a photographer, so I'm actually going to switch it to horizontal. And I'm going to change this number to something like 60 approximately. You can see it sort of zoomed the building outwards. I think really you can make a good image anywhere from 45 to 100 or so, give or take. And you can go outside those. I've seen all kinds of funky drawings, but 60 is sort of generally middle of the road. So that's going to be angle rather than millimeters. So when you do that, you might find that your building zooms in or zooms out. So I'm going to come up to here and I'm going to go to this zoom in, zoom out. Now pay attention to what you're doing. I just did the wrong way here, but that's not what I was going to say, which is this button here, that's your field of view. That also sort of zooms in or zooms out, but notice when I do this one, it changes the field of view over here. This one doesn't, so I need to reset this to 60 because that's what I want to work with, 60 degrees. There we go. And you can use this one's move, so I can move it over. And I'm just going to generally zoom in to something that I want, which again is this icon right here. Zoom in without changing my field of view, because when you change the field of view, you can get all kinds of funky angles that just don't quite look right. So there we go. I've got it set up now. I'll have to do final touches later, but the next thing I want to do is I want to set my horizon line. And the reason why I turned off my background image is because you can clearly see the horizon line of my 3D model, which is currently up here. If you had the background image on, it's really hard to see this horizon line. So for example, just to show you that if I turn on my background image, it's sort of hard to see where this is going. I find it difficult, so I like to turn it off, especially when I'm moving it around. It just becomes clear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this button right here to adjust my horizon line. So I'm going to click and hold, and I'm sort of pushing up in this case. And I've sort of learned over time that I can never quite get this horizon line to match the one that matches my drawing perfectly. I consider this setup that you see right here in this video to be very close. Yours might be slightly further away, but get it as close as you possibly can. And then the next step I'm going to do is once I got my field of view, once I got the horizon line set, I'm going to go back to the move the view button, and I'm just going to go back to 3D so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to move my drawing up, because what I need to now do is I got to make sure that the part of my building that is about eye height is also aligned with my horizon view, because I'm doing an at eye level photograph, so that's going to be the key. Now you could mark something in your 3D model, that you could draw something that was the correct height. I'm just going to do it on eye. I know if a person is generally standing at my building and they're standing on the porch or the deck, their eye is going to be approximately, in this location, but I also know where I'm taking the picture. I've stepped down a couple steps from the port, so I can move it down just an ever so slightly. So again, that would be about the position of my eye level against the horizon line. So I've got my horizon line set, I got my field of view set, and I've got the building at about where eye level would be for this drawing. When I've done that, what I'll do is I'll come back and I will turn on, I'll go back to layer and I'll turn on my background image. And now what I can do is I can go to move, and I can move it to the part of the image that I think it fits best into, making slight tweaks. And if you want to, you can also zoom in or out. If you zoom in or out, you're definitely going to have to move your eye level again to sort of reposition it, but your field of view and your horizon will stay the same. So you want to play with these things so you get it just the way you want to. And with that, I've got a nice good perspective that I can sort of move forward on. In the next video, I'll show you how to save the camera just so you don't lose it. On a sort of separate note, I'm actually filming this video after I've gone through the rest of the video series, because when I did this the first time, I wasn't quite an expert in this 3D camera stuff, and so I didn't set all the settings as I probably should have. So you might notice that the rest of my images don't exactly match the perspective I have up on screen. If you have a keen eye, you'll notice that. But nonetheless, all the techniques moving forward are all the same. So this video should definitely help you get along. All right. Thank you.